And good morning, everyone. This is Mr. Kassarian, and welcome back to another episode of Kerbal Space Program Let's Play. And as soon as my ship figures out what the heck it's supposed to be doing here, we will be all set. Not a huge deal, however. Seriously. Alright. That's it. Kill SAS, please. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Alright, we're close enough. I'm just going to do this. Wait, how much? It's all stored flipping down there. Great. Right, and I can't really slide rotate because, alright, fine. So we are just going to decouple this and hope for the best. Alright, there we go. Alright. So let's get SAS back on. Let's go to target plus mode. Okay. Close enough for government work, at least. There we go. Let's get ourselves rolled over a little bit. Now, I don't think I'm set to the right docking node. Just can't really see what's going on here because the way this game does its visuals, but... Alright, that's set as my target. There we go. Alright, perfect. So that's why everything's going wibbly. Okay. So let's get this all sorted. Let's kill that. Get that turned on. Yeah, this thing's gonna be a pain in the rear end to dock. Alright. Wow, this thing's being a pain in the rear end. Yeah, because they're not, these aren't centered, which is why it's having trouble with it. Okay, gonna go to target plus. Make sure that's set as our target. It is. Perfect. Because I realized today... Oh, crap. Alright, you know what? I give up. That's now our target. There we go. Okay. So, now that MechJeb is figuring itself out for me, which I will thank it for in the future, set that as your target and enable the autopilot. What are you doing? There we go. Alright. We'll let that thing bring in docking, because this thing's so uncentered, because I didn't do it right. I should have put ports down there, but I didn't. Derp. Alright. So, yeah, I can dock if I set it up correctly, but this one was just not set up right. So what are we doing here? Well, to start with, we are bringing this thing in for docking. Alright. Which is what you've been watching me do for the past 5 minutes, relatively unsuccessfully, because sometimes I derp. Everything else I did pretty well. It's just the design was a little off. Anyways, so what are we doing? This unit that we're docking right now contains our Kerbitat, our Colony Command Center, and our OKS Habitation Ring. And as soon as we dock in here, I'll be able to show that to you guys. I forgot to put lights on this thing again. So we're going to come in for the dock. We're using Clampetron's senior docking ports to enhance our stability. And we're almost there. And Kerchunk. Kerchunk. Alright, so I realized a problem with this design, which is, let's pull this radiator in. This. Now, this might fit, actually. Well, it doesn't seem to be hurting it, but we'll just retract that for now. Okay, so we now have our Kerbal habitation ring is now in place. We can support up to 10 Kerbals. And we can now decouple that node. Oh god, that's not what I wanted to do. So it was on backwards. Well, crap. Should have separated that node. Alright, I'll be right back. Alright, so I've just decided that that's going to be just how the station's built. It'll be a little short on that side. Oops. So, what we're going to be launching next is a little bit more complicated. Alright. If I can find it in here. Utility. There we go. So what we're going to be putting up next is more, basically. Alright, those are landing modules for the ground. There we go. Alright, so the next thing up is going to be our aeroponics module. Alright. So, let's find our aeroponics module. Oh, right. We need a terraformer. Alright, so we'll have to lift this all up in a single unit. So we're going to put up our terraformer. It's around here somewhere, aeroponics module. And then we're going to have to lift up these OKS agriculturals. And each one supports 5 Kerbals. Alright. Actually. Yeah. We'll do it like this. OKS hub connector. And then we'll put that up like that, right? Okay. And then, because then that means that we can use the actual OKS docking units. Module cap. I need one of the actual... See, this is the ground-based variant. You can just pop it right out. See? Ta-da! Not for use in space, though. Alright, Kerbitat docking port. Oh, gosh. That's the MKS stuff. Inflatable habs, colony tubes, hab ring, module cap. Huh. Station tube. Alright, so we'll just use the standards then. So what we'll do is we will connect some of our Clampetron senior docking ports there. And there. Remember, this will only support 5 Kerbals at first. Alright? 5. Okay. So Terraformer and Aeroponics are going up, and we will also put some standard Clampetrons on here. Connect to the node, aren't you? Node. And node. So we can attach some more aeroponics modules to those if we need to. And the only thing I'm really... Let's flip this around, now that I'm thinking about it. Alright, so let's yank that off, yank that off, yank that off. Put that on, put that down. And then we're going to have to go to structural to get one of these. And slap this onto the top. Alright, so let's make sure, how big are you when you're deployed? Pretty bloody big. So we need to put a spacer of some sort in. Well, that's going to be all sorts of fun. Wait, would I even be able to put multiple of these in? Yes, okay, I know how I do it. Alright, that's fine. That's fine. That should work fine then. So, a spacer. Utility. What can I use as a spacer that I need anyways? I don't need any of the tax stuff. Uh-huh. Well, but that's not human traversable. That's the problem with that. Okay, fine. What else can I use? Put an ISM on there, maybe. That's not really good either. Yeah, we'll shove the repair shop in there too. Now, the biggest question of the day is, how much does this giant stack module weigh? I'm having that moment where I'm like, how the hell am I going to get this thing to orbit? It's light enough, that's the thing. It's a very, all this stuff is incredibly lightweight. Okay. Let's fill you up. Yeah, now it's like 29 tons. Alright, so let's not fill you all the way up. Okay. We'll have to lift supplies up in different stages as we go. So let's get the Jupiter 8 launcher out. Okay. Let's get our aerodynamic pods out. It's going to have one hell of a fairing on it. And our fairing nose cone. Expanded fairing. Christ, the VAD doesn't even go up high enough for this. Sorry, I lost focus on the window. Oh god, the fairings don't even go up that high. Alright, oh gosh, alright. So, new plan then. Well, what if I... Yeah, let's do this. Okay, so we'll do that, then we'll go back to utility. We'll put another... Yeah, okay. This'll work. This'll work really nice. Okay. So let's go back to control, just because I want to be able to monitor how much this thing weighs. There. I want vessel info. Alright, we're up at 23 and a quarter or something. That's fine. You still go down here. Like that. Okay. So we're lifting an aeroponics, a terraformer, and an orbital repair shop. Okay. So, then, let's put structure on. Put one of you on, one of you on, another one of you, right? And then to the top of that, we're going to put, under utility, a Clampetron Senior. And then we could put standard Clampetrons on either side. Oop, that's a junior. And now, by the by, I'm hoping MKS cross-connects correctly using standard docking ports. I'm really hoping. Otherwise, it's going to be a bit of a futile effort. Okay, so that goes on there. We already have... I just want to make sure we actually put a Clampetron Senior on the bottom. Yes, we did. Okay, and now we have to get into the rest of this. So let's go to Utility. No, it's under control. What am I doing? We need a 45-degree RCS block. Like that. Like that. Actually, yeah, that'll be fine. Okay, so that's going to weigh 26.913. So this actually weighs almost as much as the reactor module that we put into orbit. But we're also bringing up supplies with it, which is part... Actually, yeah, what we'll do... Brings our weight down a fair bit. Okay, so we'll have to... What we'll do is we'll actually lift the supplies in separate missions. Yeah, that'll be what we do. We'll lift the supplies in separate missions. Expanded variant, please. There we go. And then we need the fairing walls. And then we'll put... Go back here. We need an RCS tank or two. Do that to go there. There we go. And then, just for the sake of making sure we don't flip out of control here, put some more RCS 45s on. There we go. And that should do the trick for that. We can bring in our Jupiter 8 launcher. Connect that. Get rid of this, because we don't need it. And change this engine, because I forgot that that was using the... Yeah. I derped, suffice to say. I derped, and that was not fun to figure out halfway through a mission. 380, 355, 325. We're going with that one. And we're in the floor, but that's alright. So, I will launch this thing into orbit, and I will see you guys when we are docking it. Alright guys, so while that thing's on the way, sometimes the answer to the problem of getting aircraft in the air with these thermal turbojets is add more intakes. So what we're running here is we're actually running some of the Cephelin's fusion reactors here. Or fission reactors. And these things are kind of cool. I believe these are the pebble beds. And let's flip through. Alright, so the thing is, yes, it's a particle pebble bed, which operates at higher temperatures, but the power output's related. So basically, it produces a bit more power, all right? So the total power output's going to be 85 megawatts versus these things, which is only 40, all right? We can pull up to 55 out of them. So this is a far more, let's say, efficient system than we might find normally. And we're going to have to stick some radial radiators on the darn thing. Because if we open up our configure visible buttons, I want to see the thermal helper, I want to see that. And, okay, good. Close. Yeah, so if we look at this, bad stuff happens. Alright? Because we have no ability to radiate off waste heat. So we're going to want to stick a couple of radial air-cooled radiators on this sucker. Honestly, that should be fine because we're in atmosphere, and these things are much more efficient in atmosphere. Yeah, so it should be fine. Yeah. 9 megawatts, yeah, it should be fine. So we have a bunch of different things that fit into this thing. Alright, and this is also a design that has a cargo bay. Right now just holding 2 battery packs and a mech-jet pod. Because we're going to take this thing up unmanned. Simply because I don't feel like dealing with what happens if we don't. So, pretty simple tricycle system here, decent sized wing. We have some solar panels on, because I omitted the generators in the sake of, not blowing this thing up. And, Yeah, so that should be good. So let's launch this baby, see how she flies. Okay, alright. Engine start, engine throttle up. And we are actually lifting off fairly fast, look at that. We're already almost up over 100 meters per second. Let's start prying her off the runway without tail smacking. Pull the gear up, kick on SAS, and we are gaining altitude and accelerating. Look at that. We're going to put her up in a bit more of a steep climb now. Look at this. And we have a cargo pod. So this thing is actually now useful for not only carrying, random supplies, but this thing can also actually carry, actual science experiments, cargo pods, etc., etc., etc. Now, how did I do this? Well, first of all, I wanted to make sure that my center of mass is right about here. My center of lift is right about there. However, if you notice, my RCS, my crew pod, and my cargo pod are actually in front of my center of lift. My hope with that is that even once I start burning fuel, that I'll still be able to... Let's see how far up I can nose her. My hope is that even once I start burning the fuel that's back here, it's not going to do that much to my center of mass, right? I'm kind of hoping that everything will equal out. But we all know how that goes in KSP. So she can hold a pretty decent angle on the nose there. We certainly have enough thrust. Let's look at vessel info. Oh wow, look at that. My thrust to weight ratio is actually pretty decent right now. I could probably just put her into a direct descent. Now, the downside of this is that I don't have any space maneuvering systems, right? I can't maneuver once I'm in orbit, I can't really maneuver that much. And I also don't have any intercoolers, which is another huge issue. What that means for my intercoolers, by the way, is that... Oh yeah, we're getting high enough that I'm starting to lose some atmosphere. But it should be stabilizing pretty well. What that means is that my engines can overheat fairly easily, and I have to watch out for that, and I have to be very careful that they don't. And the intercoolers actually have to be attached to my air intakes. Alright? So I'm going to figure out another way of doing the air intakes and intercoolers, because I don't think that these diverterless... Yeah... Yeah, I don't think those are going to help much once we get going up too high. Especially now that we're losing atmosphere at a pretty decent rate. Though the air is getting thinner, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But yeah, you can see I have a ram air on the front, I have 2 diverterless supersonics on the wings, and then 2 more on the underside of the fuselage down here. There we go. Now, hopefully, I'll be developing some better reactors for this. The nice thing about these fission plants is that they basically run forever. And they're throttling down a little bit because we're getting up high enough. Yeah, you can see my angle, my attack, my possible increase in altitude vector is kind of dropping off here. So what we'll do is we'll let her fall back down onto her angle of attack. We'll lock her at about 10. Okay, so now we're having some issues. So I think we've kind of hit the service ceiling. Unfortunately, it's about 17,000, which isn't that high. All right, baby, what are you doing? All right, that's a spin. That's a flat spin. So if anything, though, this thing is not very controllable now. Let's get SAS on. Let's see if we can wrench ourselves free. Come on, recover, 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 recover. Alright, so we've got an atmosphere back. That's a good sign. We're starting to wrench her free now. Come on. There we go. Alright, so I want to experiment with this because I've never done this before. Land on KSP runway, heading altitude, initial hold. Yeah, let's set this. Let's see how this works. Oh, I see what it's doing. Okay, that's what it's doing. It's locking me into a heading hold. At 1,000 meters. Okay, but I can set that to 3,000. And she's just going to bring me around and try and land me. Alright, so we'll see. We'll see how this works. If I click that, what does it do? Okay, so it actually shows me distance to target. Alright, that's nice. I've never actually used this before, so it's kind of cool. Anyways, guys, I'm going to see how well this thing does at landing this bird. And, yeah, I'll be back in the next episode. Hopefully we can do some more fun with our aircraft here. I'm kind of worried that it's about to mush me into the seafloor, but that's neither here nor there. Might be because because those are kind of... It's having some trouble just keeping me vertical, though. There. What was that all about? For some reason... she's fighting me. Can't tell why she wants to go so low. Anyways, guys, this has been Mr. Kassari, and I want to thank you guys for watching. As always, if you liked the episode, give me a like, comment, subscription. Let me know you're out there. Alright, guys. Happy flying.